Hi, and hello, and welcome back to Tsumihoroboshi. So, where we last left off, there was a lot of stuff from all the reading, from medical information and the lore of Onikufuchi Swamp, Yashiro-sama, all that stuff. It's a lot of things. While Keiichi and Reina were in a phone call with each other for, it seems like a 1 hour phone call to me. Let's continue reading. All right. The next day, Reina came to school, acting normal like she said she would. I was supposed to do my Grand Blue grind, but now is time for me to record a bit more. Because the last part I had like some bit of background noise, so I couldn't really so I had to stop the recording right away. Pretty sure you could hear like most of it. I could be wrong. Reina came to school acting normal like she said she would. Ain't that amazing? She talked with me on as cheerfully as she always did, and it made me wonder if the story she told me last night was a complete fabrication. That's because the story really was too ridiculously crazy to believe. I know, right? This village has a very weird and rare endemic disease. Endemic, mind you, and there are religious fanatics who want to use the disease to revive their weird cult. And they've been researching the pathogen of the endemic disease so they can spread it throughout the village. I was deeply influenced by Reina last night, and I believed everything she said. But thinking about it with a cool mind under the bright sunlight, it sounds too crazy to be true. The story Reina told me is based on Takano-san's crazy hand-me-down ideas. It's based entirely on her theories, which, though very feasible, have no evidence whatsoever. The fact that Takano-san was murdered lends credit to the story, I'll give you that. But what exactly? I looked at Mion. Oh, ain't that amazing? I looked at Mion. She was fooling around with Reina. It's hard to believe that she's involved with some crazy conspiracy. Hey, are you listening, Kei-chan? What? Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying any attention. Wake up, sleepyhead. You need to get enough sleep or your brain stops working. Well, that's what she says. Mion made fun of me for reacting too slowly. It's almost impossible not to trust this bubbly, cheerful girl. I mean, I'm not surprised. Uh, I trust Mion. I trust my friends. I know she'd never have a hand in a crazy conspiracy like that. I mean, she she is part mafia after all. If she knew about it, she wouldn't be able to act this cheerfully. Reina told me not to tell Mia because she might be one of them, but it might be worth telling her without letting Reina know. Of course, there's at least a 1% chance that the conspiracy is true and that Mion is one of them. If so, I'd be doomed. Well, I'd be damned from that as well. I'd be doomed for that too. But if I had to choose between believing the crazy conspiracy theory and trusting my friends, my answer would be obvious. I know that my friend Mion isn't a part of any conspiracy. She'd never be involved with something like that. Even if the conspiracy exists, I'm sure Mion will be on our side. So whether or not it's true, it must be worth telling Mion about it. Hmm. Oh, great. You just have to do that, huh? Jesus. This is not going to end so well, I can feel that. What's going on, Kei-chan? Why did you call me out here? You told me not to tell anybody. You're not going to extort money from me, are you? I'm sure. Well, is that the first thing you think of when you're called out to the gymnasium storeroom? Oh, I know. You want to give me a love letter, don't you? People usually use the shoe locker for that, you know? I mean, wow. Typical, just like an anime line would say. We don't really do that in the city. A lot of guys hand over their love letters in person. Yeah, like an actual man would do. Oh, you gotta be a man about it. Really? So wait, are you kidding me? That's not why I called you here. I have to talk to you about something very important. I, I want you to listen without making fun of me. What what is it? Do you know that there are people who want to revive the cult of a Yashiro-sama? Huh? What what the hell are you talking about? This, of course, was just my way of getting a feel for the situation. I wanted to see how she was going to react by getting straight to the point. But Mion really did look puzzled. People wouldn't normally react like this if someone pointed out their secrets out of the blue. They always panic, if only just a little. Either Mion was a brilliant actress, or she really didn't have anything to do with the idea of reviving Ishiro-sama. See, that's the problem with having to look at the windowed mode. It's like this is the maximum resolution while I have to like see the whole bigger screen on while recording OBS. So no wonder reviving Ishiro-sama. I decided to tell her everything. Mion, your family, the Sonozaki family, has a lot of influence in this region, including Kanamizawa, right? Do you think there's a possibility that they're working to revive the cult of Yoshiro-sama behind the scenes? Revive? Well, why do you say that? Well, people today don't worship a Yoshiro-sama like the people in the old days did. So people like fundamentalists might be trying to make people worship a Yoshiro-sama in the same way as the people of Onikafuchi. What? Wait a second. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, she's just putting on this little normal routine. Are you sure? You really have no idea what I'm talking about? Of course I don't. It sounds like one of those popular novels that sold 5 million copies over in America. Oh, what a metaphor. Mayon's reaction was very natural. It seemed impossible that she was pretending she didn't know anything about it. But regardless, I continued. Well, there are people like that in this village for real. Do you know anything about them? You're saying that those people want to make us worship Yoshiro-sama like the people of Onikafuchi did? What good will that do? You know, I think it means a lot to people who really believe. But think about it, Kei-chan. We'd be happy to live under those strict ancient rules. In this day and age, it's almost impossible to live without leaving the village. But for example, think about Rika-chan. All the old people say she's a reincarnation of Yoshiro-sama, right? Those people might be religious fanatics, and are you talking about old man Kimiyoshi? Well, I know he's a deeply religious man for sure, but he isn't a fanatic. Old man priest. Believe me, there really are people who are trying to revive the cult of Yoshiro-sama. Okay, I'll believe you for now because I want to hear the rest. Go on. They found out that the curse of Yoshiro-sama was just an endemic disease unique to this village. So now they're researching the pathogen. Where? First of all, what's an endemic disease? What's a pathogen? They sound gross. I was getting confused. I didn't know what I was talking about myself anymore. I was deeply influenced by Reina last night and believed everything she said. But having said it all out loud, I started realizing how impossible the story sounded. What's going on with you? Did Mio-san tell you all this? Oh, shit. Well, how did you know? She's infamous for this kind of thing. She's an occult maniac. She always makes up crazy stories. A few people have gotten badly taken in by her before. She told me some of her stories once, and I remembered they were actually very interesting. Is that is that true? I think you've heard about this once or twice before, but this village had a unique culture back in the old days. Oh, you don't say. They did a lot of oppressive things, like having very strict rules, very strict punishments, and a bunch of other cruel traditions. They're well known among occult maniacs. Mio-san is one of them. So the story I heard about the weird parasite that controls the village was what? Parasite? Is that a new story she came up with? Oh boy. Sounds like she's laughing her ass off. What do you mean, new story? I told you, Mio-san is an occult maniac. She studies the weird legends surrounding Onikufuchi and enjoys making up hypotheses, theories, and wild stories about them. Great. She's created a lot of different ones aside from that theory that parasites are controlling the village. One I heard an awful while back was about UFOs. That one was interesting since it connected a lot of different dots. The story was about a UFO that crashed into Onikafuchi Swamp long ago. The alien that was in the UFO and the villagers had a battle or something like that. It was like one of those sci-fi horror B movies. What the hell is this? UFOs. What? Jesus. The one Satoka heard was a theory about creatures from the bottom of the ocean. A movement in the Earth's crust opened up a connection between that underwater world and Onikafuchi, and the princess of the underworld fell in love with a young man in the village. It was like a sci-fi version of Romeo and Juliet. What a weird. I don't know, man. The story about the parasites that you heard must be a new one. I hope she makes all of them into a book one day. Mion began laughing so hard that she had to hold her stomach. As I looked at her laughing like that, I realized I fell for something that ridiculous. At that point, it was obvious. I had been completely taken in. Oh my god. It's like you're it's like you got clickbaited or some shit. I'm sorry, Mion, but please answer my questions. First, do the fanatics who are trying to revive the cult of Yushiro-sama exist? No, they don't. I mean, it's totally the opposite. The three families have agreed to open Hanamizawa to outsiders in order to make this village arrive. To thrive. I'm not supposed to tell anybody about this, but there's a project to build a new highway by the end of the 20th century. The Sonozaki family is promoting its construction without informing the villagers. If all goes well, this whole area will flourish. My grandma is betting she'll make a fortune when it causes land prices in the region to skyrocket. Well, most of the work will happen in the 21st century, so I'll likely end up taking over the project. So, you don't think there are people who hate outsiders? I told you, there are no such people. What makes you think we want to make this village more inconvenient than it already is? In fact, we've already started selling the land of the village to rich people who want to build country residences here. Your house is on the first lot to be sold, Keiichi. Didn't the villagers welcome you? The three families are trying to do everything they can to stop young people from leaving the village. Stop young people. It's There was nothing vague about what Mion had said. Her story makes a lot more sense than Takano-san's delusional theories. And so Mion's words woke me up from that delusion. So, what about this? I heard that the residents of Hinamizawa have extraordinary high levels of something in their blood, and it proves that they're infected by parasites. Really? How did Mio-san figure that out? Takano-san is a nurse. I'm sure she can do that. And you think anyone would give her blood samples for no reason? Because I sure don't. Even if she could get blood samples somehow, how and where would she examine them? How many blood samples do you think she examined all by herself? Mion was right. I couldn't believe I thought Takano-san could do all that just because she was a nurse. It struck me hard to believe that she got that many blood samples and did a high-level examination like that without any help. When I thought about it rationally, I shouldn't have believed such a ridiculous story so easily. Um, I heard that people here don't get hay fever, which is proof of their being infected by the parasite. Only people in cities get hay fever. I heard it has something to do with fuel emissions. Hey, John, you're talking about Hinamizawa. I mean, even people in Okonomiya don't get hay fever, I think. Well, what about this? I heard that the Sonozaki family has a death squad and that they kidnapped the grandson of a government minister once. That sounds cool. I wish I had a squad like that. Even I was sounding ridiculous, but I believed all of it last night. I believed it because Reina looked very serious. It's true that the grandson of a minister was found in Takasuda. We didn't do it. We just acted as if we did. What do you mean? Please explain. Explain to me, homie. Okay. The Onikafuchi Guardians protested violently during the dam conflict. They did something close to terrorism as well. But there were people who used the residents' movement for their own benefits. They used the name of the Onikafuchi Guardians to rob people of money and valuables. The Onikafuchi Guardians were a very aggressive force at that time. There's a high possibility that some people thought they could use the name to extort money. The kidnapping case was one of those incidents. The kidnappers thought they could stifle the police investigation by acting like they were the Onikafuchi Guardians. They kidnapped the boy to demand a ransom. To tell you the truth, the members of the Onikafuchi Guardians were all very surprised. They were actually impressed that those guys actually pulled it off. I remember they even said they'd give them an award. Wait a second. So the Onikafuchi Guardians had nothing to do with the kidnapping? No, not at all. Mion said it firmly. It was a simple and clear answer which left no room for suspicion. And thinking about it, it's nothing surprising. Kidnapping the grandson of a minister and negotiating with him in person is a huge deal. The Onikafuchi Guardians were a very aggressive group, but this operation wasn't so easy that it could be carried out by any of the normal residents of Hinamizawa. It was obviously the work of professional criminals, without a doubt. Like I said earlier, the Sonozaki family acted as if we were the masterminds of the kidnapping case. What do you mean by that? This is a secret precept of the Sonozaki family. You can't tell anybody about this, okay? When an incident like this happens, we traditionally act as if we're responsible for it. It's a tradition of bluffing. Bluffing? Really? Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it works out in our favor, it can be a criminal incident. The weather, or even lottery numbers. We act as if it happened because the Sonozaki family wanted it to happen. It starts to sound like we're a very powerful organization, doesn't it? That's the point. This is the secret. This is the street. Oh man, I'm stumbling on words. This is the secret strategy that only the Sonozaki family heads know about. Okay. This strategy is meant to make us look bigger and stronger than we really are. Wow. So, what about the plan they had during the dam conflict? The one to attack the Ministry of Construction? Was that true? I heard that they obtained weapons and even trained for it. That was the spin we put on it. There's no way we could actually carry out a crazy plan like that. Our real goal was to make people believe that we were capable of doing things so we could exact pressure on the government. That's all. They obtained weapons and went through training just so they could exact pressure. They had no intention of actually carrying out the plan. The Sonozaki family was just bluffing. That made sense. Of course it did. It's impossible to attack the Ministry of Construction. Even if they did, it wouldn't solve the problem. All I had to do was use common sense. Even if they did, they would have been crushed within seconds by a huge number of policemen. Why didn't I think of that? What about the weapons and the training? As for the weapons, no comment. But we did go through training. We needed to do that in order to make the bluff look real. We gathered some younger men from my father's office and appointed Kasai-san as leader of the group. We went to a desert. We went to a desert in Texas. Wow. Played war games with some instructors and went sightseeing in San Francisco afterwards. so, so I couldn't think of anything else. It was obvious now. Well, I'll be right back real quick. I need a drink. All right, I'm back. You probably won't see this on screen, but I'm currently drinking a, well, I wouldn't say water. I'm just drinking like the usual energy drink. Oh shit. Almost spilled it, of course. Excuse me. Alright, anyway. Let's continue reading. I know. Reina and I both were completely fooled by the scrapbooks of Takano-san's delusion. Well, that is shocking. I wonder what's Reina's reaction to that? Reina was so serious about it, so I believed her. But if you examined it closely, there were so many inconsistencies. I couldn't believe Reina took a delusion like that so seriously. I knew the reason why, though. She was still in a state of shock after being caught with the corpses that day. Excuse me. She was mentally unstable. Then she came across this tall tale, and she believed it. Reina is a smart girl. She wouldn't have taken it seriously if she was stable. Plus, another thing happened to wake me up from the delusion. The white van I saw yesterday came to school during the lunch break. The four men in work uniforms I saw were there too. Uh-oh. You know this ain't gonna go so well. I said thank you to Mion and followed them. The man who talked to me yesterday knocked on the door at the teacher's office. Hello, I'm from the Okonogi Gardeners. Oh, thank you for coming. It's very hot today, isn't it? Sure is. By the way, you look very beautiful today, as always. Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready. Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you. The quote and the invoice, I see. The date is left blank on both of them. Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. Alright, we'll start right away. The man was talking to Chie-sensei with a big smile. Hmm? What are you doing here, my Baraku? Oh, principal. Who is that guy? The principal pointed his finger at the window. When I looked out, I heard the noise of an engine starting. The noise was coming from the engine of a motorized lawnmower. I saw young men in work uniforms taking another lawnmower, some brooms, and a ladder out of the van. They're gardeners. We haven't taken care of the grass around the fence and the trees for a long time. I wanted to clean them up before summer. Mr. Principal, thank you for giving us a call. The man noticed the principal, took off his hat, and bowed. No need. I trust your work. Please take care of things. I think we can finish it today. We might make a lot of noise, though. Each worker took one of the tools and walked towards the fence where the grass was growing. The engine of the lawnmower was very loud, and the kids who were playing in the schoolyard looked at it curiously. Hey, it's dangerous out here. Go back to your classroom. It was Chie-sensei. She handed an envelope with the documents in it to the principal. It said Okanogi Gardeners in green on the envelope. Principal, please sign the invoice and drop it off at their office next time you go to the town hall. Of course. Will do. Ah, Chie-sensei. Did they come here yesterday? Yes, they came here to look at the grass late in the afternoon. They told me they got lost on the way back because they tried to take a shortcut. This village has a lot of small roads branching off everywhere, and they can be very confusing. I remember when I first came here, Chie-sensei started talking about when she got lost, and they laughed together. There was never anything suspicious to begin with. I thought they were suspicious yesterday because of what Reina had told me. At first, I thought it wasn't unusual to see a white van, but then, right after I heard her creepy story, I saw a white van parked on the road and I got scared. The gardeners weren't familiar with the roads of Hinamizawa and they got lost trying to take a shortcut on their way back. That's all. I had it totally twisted around? I believed that fake sounding story. I believed that the Sonozaki family was working behind the scenes, and I fabricated the existence of a group of fanatical believers in my mind. Worse, I doubted Mion. Damn it! I'm such a fool. She's my friend. We took each other's hands that day, saying that we were a family made of friends, and that friends were friends no matter what. I said that, but then I doubted my friend. I'm so stupid. Anyway, Reina was the problem. She also needed to wake up from this crazy delusion. I had to hurry and wake her up. Reina seemed like she had no mind to listen to anyone else. She truly believes that the Sonozaki family are the masterminds of a large-scale conspiracy. I remembered the plate number of the white van, and I also remembered their faces. Oh no. This is Reina's perspective, huh? It used to be pink, now it's like red, like pinkish red, like dark pinkish red or whatever. Without a doubt, this was one of the vans that have been following me. So far, I've confirmed that 3 or 4 cars have been following me. I could especially recall this white van because it followed me around the longest of all. The people who were in the other cars must be the lookouts, and the ones in this van must be tasked with direct contact, like kidnapping or assassination. The lookouts secured the surroundings, and the ones in this van attacked the target. That's a common maneuver involved in both kidnapping and assassination. The scrapbooks said that too. If so, I'd better watch out because it was them, not the lookouts, who came to the school premises. I don't think they'll attack me while I'm in school. They're in the early stage of their covert operation now, hiding their fangs and claws until the last stage of their horrifying scheme. That's why they won't take action in the school, where people are watching. But it looked like they were talking with Chie-sensei in a very friendly way. I could only hear bits and pieces of their conversation, but it sounded very suspicious. Very suspicious. Holy shit. I tried to remember the chatter and the movements of their mouths, and I played my memory of it like a videotape in my mind. hello, and something. I guess they just blur out, whatever. Oh, thank you for coming. It's very hot today, isn't it? It sure is. Something you today. Ain't you? Well, you can start whenever you're ready. Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you. The something is something, I see. Something is left blank. Oh, Reina's perspective is pretty messed up, while on Keiichi's perspective, I just read it easily. It was some left blank on something. Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. Alright, well, something. I used the information I had to guess what was going on. I played the video again and again in my mind, and also paused it and played it in slow motion again to check many times. Then, something unbelievably horrifying started to emerge. There's no doubt that they're acquainted with Chie sensei, but I've never seen them visit this school before, so it's hard to believe that Chie sensei is their contact. There's no doubt that they're the death squad under the direct control of the Sonozaki family. They have the local accent, which proves they were chosen from the Sonozaki corps. The death squad was talking with Chie sensei. They know each other. What's their relationship? Who's Chie sensei anyway? During the dam conflict, Hinamizawa School was closed and it was merged with the one in Okonomiya. But the Onikafuchi Guardians didn't accept that. They made a part of the Forestry Service building into a school. But needless to say, the school they made didn't have a teacher, so it was only going to be a token form of resistance. But a teacher who had a strong passion for education felt sorry for the children, and she came to work there. That was Rumiko Chie Sensei. It was obviously strange. Teachers are government employees, and they normally belong to their prefectures. As long as they lie low and don't cause trouble, they don't get fired, and they don't get demoted. They can work up until the official retirement age, and they're guaranteed to get a fixed retirement fund. She was one of those government employees, but she defied the board of education and came to work for Hinamizawa. The villagers admire her as a teacher of passion. I heard that Orio Sonozaki herself successfully negotiated with the board of education that suspended Chie Sensei for defying their orders. Wow. It was easy to get an answer from this by connecting the dots. Chie Sensei was recruited by Orio Sonozaki as a teacher to work at the school the Onikafuchi Guardians had created. Well, in other words, sorry about that. Had to check Discord. In other words, she was already working for Oreo before she came here. As for the principal, he was the principal of the school in Hinamizawa from the beginning. He's a respected person of his region, and he's been closely associated with the three families for a long time. So that means this school has been under the control of the Sonozaki family all along. Oh my. That's why Chie Sensei is acquainted with the Death Squad. It makes sense now. Chie Sensei confirmed that I came to school today, made a phone call, and called them here? I don't want to know why she called them here. If she called them just to monitor me, they'd wait near the gate until class was over. But they came onto the school premises. Why? Stop pretending to be a fool, Reina Ryugu. Do you think nothing will happen if you pretend not to notice it? Think hard, and calm down, Reina Ryugu. What will they try to do to me today in school? In school? How are they going to do anything with my classmates and friends around me? It's easy. Chie Sensei will tell me to come to the teacher's office during the last class of the day. What about my clubmates? That's easy too. Chie Sensei can easily make them go home early using her authority as a teacher. She can make up any reason she wants. Maybe the classroom is going to have carpentry work done today, so they can't stay in school. It sure is something today. Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready. See, there's no doubt. They clearly said they're ready to do it today. And what else? Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you. The something and something I see. Something is blank on something. Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. I see. They gave Chie sensei an envelope with some documents in it. That blank is an eerie fate phrase. Was my name supposed to be in the blank? Why is it left blank? What does that mean? I told you, Reina Ryugu. Do you still think that nothing will happen if you pretend not to notice it? Stop that. So, what it must mean is that it's an order from a higher up. It says to make Reina Ryugu become blank. I took a peek from the shadows, and I saw the principal taking documents out from the envelope. He started reading them. He looked stern. He looked very serious. I wished I could take a peek at the documents, but I was too far away. I kept looking at him just to see if he'd react at all. And then the envelope caught my eye. The envelope said Okanogi Gardeners, and it had some numbers that looked like a phone number. Fortunately, I have good eyesight. I memorized the number. If they're a death squad, the gardening company must be a camouflage occupation. Oh man, it probably doesn't even exist. I wanted to find out. I looked for a phone. There's only one phone, and it's in the teacher's office. Fortunately, the teachers were chatting in the hallway, looking at the gardeners. It was now or never. I made sure nobody was watching me go into the teacher's office. I rushed in and grabbed the phone on the principal's desk. I went over the phone number in my head and dialed it up. I'm glad they have a touch-tone phone. It would have been difficult if it was a rotary dial. Oh boy, back in the old days, rotary dials are most tedious phones. If somebody answered, I'd only have to ask, is this the Okanogi Gardeners? I'd wait for the answer before hanging up. It should be easy. It connected. The number you dialed is. I felt a cold chill run through my body from the bottom of my feet. Wait, don't make a quick judgment. I might have remembered the number wrong. No, I know I remembered it right. It was an easy number to remember. It's impossible to remember it wrong. Then, did I dial it wrong? I put the phone down and started over. This time, I dialed the number more slowly. The teachers might be coming back at any time. In that situation, it was risky to do anything slowly. But I needed to make absolutely sure. The number you dialed it's the same. There's no doubt. The company Okanogi Gardeners doesn't exist. It's just a camouflage occupation for the Sonozaki family's death squad. Please make sure the number you dialed is correct. The number you dialed is. I was too stunned to put down the receiver. The announcement kept running over and over again. The voice was cold and creepy. I hung up the phone and rushed out the teacher's office. I ran to the bathroom and held my head in an attempt to cool down. Calm down, Reina. Calm down, Reina Ryugu. Stay cool. Reina Ryugu. Stay cool, Reina Ryugu. I wasn't safe here anymore. If stayed here, I might be erased, even in the open. They'd erase me? Why? They aren't certain that I have the scrapbooks. I told Keiichi-kun where I hid the scrapbooks. Yesterday I told him I hid them in my hideout in the garbage dump. Is Keiichi-kun in cahoots with the Sonozaki family? I felt as if my head was a pot that was cooking some dubious stew. There was only soup in my brain. I cut up clues, information and facts just like I cut vegetables, and threw them into the pot. Some of them were floating on the surface, and others were on the bottom of the pot. They were being cooked in a boiling soup. No, it can't be. Keiichi-kun is on my side. He's the only one who's on my side. He held out his hand to me at the trash piles. There was no lie in that hand. When he grabbed my wrist, I felt nothing but his strong and pure heart. He promised me he'd be on my side. I shouldn't doubt Keiichi-kun. He's the only one I should trust. He's the only one who is on my side right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun. I was about to doubt you. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. I said it out loud on purpose, full of regret that I doubted Keiichi-kun, the only one who is on my side. Now that I think about it, whether I have the scrapbooks or not might not matter to them. Erase anyone who is suspicious. That's the safest way. Does that mean they're in a hurry? The day of Yoshiro-sama's revival might be just around the corner, and that's why they're trying to get rid of any small fish bones that are stuck in their throat, by any means before it's too late. We don't need her anymore. Just erase her if you're worried so much. I could easily picture Oryu Sonozaki saying that. Picture? No, she did say that. That's why they're here today. What should I do? What should I do? Should I wait until school is over? I was like a fish in a pond. No matter how many times I escaped from the net, I was in the pond, and they owned the pond. I didn't stand a chance. Then, what should I do now? I couldn't keep escaping from the net. I should get out of the pond. I didn't know how to fight them. I didn't know who's on my side. I was about to give in to despair. For now, I'd had to think about how to survive this, so I'd at least have time to think about how to fight against them. I had to get out of this pond. When I was about to leave the bathroom, one of my classmates came in. I pretended to be sick and talked to the girl while leaning on the wall. I don't feel good. I think I better go home. Can you tell Chie-sensei I left school early? I shouldn't let Chie-sensei know that I'm leaving school early if I'm trying to run away from them. But if I didn't, they might think I ran away without cause. That might lead them to chase after me without mercy. If that happens, I don't stand a chance. They were planning to capture me after school was over, but I happened to feel sick and left school early. If they took it that way, they wouldn't think that I noticed a noose tightening around me. I was about to go back to the classroom to get my bag, but I changed my mind and turned around. I didn't need my bag anymore. I realized nobody was watching me, so I stopped pretending to be sick and started running. All right. I think that's a good time for me to stop from here. Wow. Whoa. That's a that's a lot of parts to right there. All right. So next part, we'll continue from this because after this intense Reina's perspective, I think I think this is a Keiichi's perspective now. So let's see what happens with him. I think. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you then. Have a good one.